Hello and welcome back to BookGames Spectator. Today we're picking up where we left off and we're dipping into understanding the order book for book games. So the first thing that I like to do when it comes to BookGames spectating is I like to refresh on the most recently listed and the most recently sold. So we'll take a look at that right now. Interesting. So there's not much that we're gonna get in terms of context that I'm gonna give for the most recently listed. But I just want you to take a look at the process flow that I'm engaged with in terms of how I think about book game spectating. You always want to be apprised on the deep bench of listings. I'm talking going back days, weeks, months, and even years, depending on how deep you can get in there. But most people don't have time to look back more than 90 days. So you can use that to your advantage whenever you have spare time to go through the listings, because most people, the reason why you go through the listings is to get a fresh sense of what's going on in the order book, whether by visualization or otherwise, and take a look at them to see if there's anything that stands out. But we don't have time for that right now. So we're going back to deep in the order book to see what's been sold. Okay, so now we're 4 weeks ago and we're still taking our time to sort through. Here, this is interesting. A kindness, humility versus humility hollow versus kindness diamond. So let's take a look at it. Kindness diamond, okay, versus humility hollow. Kindness diamond versus humility hollow. So how would we figure out which is the most rare? We would take a look and we would figure out which is the most rare by looking at the total order supply, the total supply of the token. For kindness, there's 8,341 total tokens. And for humility, there's 12,101. So which one is the most rare? You got it. It's kindness over everything. Kindness is more rare than humility. But then we'd say, wait. Look, what about the spectacular? But in this case, the spectacular is the same. It's not the same in terms of both being hollow or both being diamond, but diamond has 1,043 and hollow has 1,043. So in this case, all things being the same, kindness is more rare than humility. And we're looking at kindness and humility infer too, so that makes things a lot easier, and we can see that there was a premium paid over the humility, which might be reflective of that. Okay, and as I told you, when it comes to understanding frame rarities, I like to fix my focal point of awareness on galaxy primarily, and then work backwards and work forwards, primarily because I think originally I actually did do the math. And let's actually add this up. Let me grab my calculator. Okay, we're gonna take 13.68 plus 13 plus 11.18 plus 10.04 plus 9.36 plus 8.32 plus 7.02 plus, okay, so 7.02, at 7.02 we get 72.96%. Keep a fair like item on that. 72.96%. That's before you get to fur, right? So it's already almost 75% before you even get to fur. And by the time we get to fur, let's add it in, 0.6.5. 79%, 79.46% by the time you get to fur. And then caviar is 0.52, 84%, 84.66% by the time you get to caviar. 84.66% by the time you get to caviar. And then by the time we get to galaxy, 4.68, you get 89.34%. Almost 90% of all tokens are excluded by the time you get to galaxy. So that means you're understanding the rarity of what's below and what's above the different token frame rarities. Okay, so we're taking a look. As we can see, we see with this one stood out to me as a kindness gold galaxy, and it was pretty cheap. Sold for $118, but that's relative based on where your cost basis is at. In terms of BookGames spectating, we still have our paper trading account. In our paper trading account, we have 0.232959 Ethereum. And so how would we figure out what's more valuable in between these two tokens, this kindness gold and kindness hollow? Kindness gold, kindness hollow. So clearly there's less of the kindness hollow than there is of the kindness gold. So the kindness hollow is going to be more rare. But one is a galaxy and one is a clear. That's where things get really interesting in terms of understanding token frame excuse me, in terms of understanding token frame rarities. I haven't come up with a precise mathematical position to figure out the exact way to describe whether or not which one is more rare. But for me, I just lean galaxies first before I start dipping down. If I dip down, then it has to be of a specific rarity quality. That way I would know. So let's continue scrolling through the order book. Let's see if we see. Whoa. See, this is where it comes to you understanding the BookGames token count supply sheet and frame rarities. This stood out to me. Crazy good. Why? Because it was only 0.023 Ethereum, and it's a tenacity hollow. Do you know what that means? That means there's only 279 in the total spectacular. That's why you see it highlighted in green. Similarly to gratitude is the attitude, and conviction helps you grow. Now I can show you what a conviction series looks like, and what a gratitude looks like in wood. This is what the gratitude and convictions look like in wood. Now, if we take the wood off, wood is going to be our anchor since it's the lowest. It's supposed to mimic the floor since it's our most widely accessible frame rarity. As described here. The most common frame is wood, 13.7%. So this was a catch, and this was interesting. Why? This is what the convictions and the gratitudes are going for right now. The lowest, the floor of conviction is 0.0689 Ethereum. That's just under $200 in the present, $300 in the present moment when converted based on current exchange prices. And we have a whole shelf here of about 4 around $300. And then the next one jumps up to 420, 500. But let's take a look at the activity. All time. What do these you normally go for? Okay, if we've taken our look into the deep bench, we don't have too much time in this video left, so let's just scroll up. Okay, 3 years ago, going for 0.5, going for 1, going for 1.6, and this is where you need to take into account the historical order book to understand where in the history of the BookGames tokens are you finding value. So let's just start here. Actually, when we get back to our next video, we'll go through conviction again, conviction hollow. But so far in this entry, we're gonna highlight this as a great catch. And why? Because it's tenacity, hollow, and how many tenacities are there? There's 6,609. And how many hollows are there? There's 279, making it on par with convictions and on par with gratitudes. And only specific categories of BookGames tokens have that number attached, as opposed to the 1,000 or 2,000 or even 4,000 that exist within others. So when we get back, we'll double back to going through the listings to figure out, okay, what was listed most recently, and then going through the order book from 3 weeks ago, and then dipping into convictions and gratitudes. Until next time.